Hi, my name's Aaron Weber, and I'm the Community Manager for Resonance of Fate at Sega of America. Today, we're going to go over the battle system in Resonance of Fate, explaining all the basics about combat that you'll want to know when you get your hands on the game. The best way I can describe Resonance of Fate's battle system is by painting it as a mix between Valkyria Chronicles and a John Woo movie. In short, you take a bit of awesome out of both, add in a new element that Tri-Ace brings to the mix, and the result is RPG combat that is new, refreshing, and looks absolutely fantastic. When the battle begins, the first thing you need to consider is the placement and types of the enemies you're up against. It's not as big a strategy game as Valkyria Chronicles, but that doesn't mean you can just rush in headfirst and expect to survive. Each character has a set amount of time they can put into either moving, aiming, or using items. Charging, or aiming, requires a set amount of time to complete. As soon as the circle completes a loop, you can fire, or you can wait for it to loop again, making the attack even stronger. If you get hit during the charge, though, it resets, so finding the happy medium between power and timing is crucial. Now we get into the exciting side of things, the hero actions. A hero action pretty much translates as run from point A to point B while invincible, doing flips, spins, and firing bullets like crazy as you grip your controller with delight and smile. Or you could just call them hero actions. These are what really add a fun element to fights, and the way you use them can also determine how a battle will go. Let's say an enemy has strong defense in front of him, and you're having trouble getting past it. No problem. Use a hero action and jump up into the air as you run. Your attack from above will completely ignore his defense, because you're hitting from a different direction and plane of battle. The same can be said for getting around behind an enemy, or even to the side. Next up is the Tri-Attack. The Tri-Attack is a positional attack that involves forming a triangle, which is half of the word try in Tri-Attack, and all three characters at once, the other half of the try. To use a Tri-Attack, the first thing you need to do is build the shape of your triangle. To do this, use the hero actions just like you would normally. When you're plotting out your course, you'll see either glowing red lights on the path in front of you, or glowing blue lights. If the line is blue, it means you're properly building part of the triangle, and in return, it will give you a resonance point once you finish the action. To use the Tri-Attack, you'll need to exchange one resonance point and one of the bezels at the bottom of the screen, which are also used for the hero actions. When you begin the Tri-Attack, you'll notice that all three characters start to move at once towards the next point of the triangle, simultaneously charging their weapons. Likewise then, when you fire, all three characters will fire their weapons one after the other, dealing heavy damage to whichever poor sap, or machine, is unfortunate enough to be standing in your way. Then we get to the real bread and butter of strategy in Resonance of Fate, scratch damage and direct damage. Scratch damage comes from machine guns. Scratch damage is like softening up an enemy in preparation for the big finisher. As you hit an enemy with scratch damage, their green HP bar will start to turn blue. The more damage you do with your machine gun, the more scratch damage the enemy will receive. What you essentially want to do is paint each and every enemy as blue as possible, and not only their HP, but you can also turn the defensive barriers blue too. Once you've done that, select a character that deals direct damage, and prepare for a whole lot of fun. Direct damage comes from handguns and also from grenades. Direct damage chips away an enemy's HP directly, as the name implies. You can also use direct damage to break through defensive barriers that enemies may have. In any case, no enemy will ever go down unless you hit it with some form of direct damage. So let's say you charge forward and hit an enemy with a few rounds of direct damage. The enemy may have a defensive barrier in front, and so you'll first need to shoot enough bullets to wear that down. Afterwards, each additional shot will hit the enemy directly and will do, say, about 5 to 6 damage per hit. You'll charge up about 5 times total and hit them for maybe 30 damage. Now let's say you've played it smart, and you chose to use scratch damage first, as we mentioned above. You painted the enemy's defensive barrier blue and jumped up completely and filled their HP bar with scratch damage. Now in this case, your very first shot will turn all of that blue scratch damage into real damage, instantly destroying their defensive barrier. Your second shot will hit the enemy directly, once again turning all of the blue damage into real damage and doing a total of about 130 damage, instantly defeating your enemy. With the right strategy, you've done more in 2 shots than you would have in 10 with the original method. The strategy only gets deeper from there. Skilled players can manage to paint 3 or 4 enemies with scratch damage in a single charge, making for an easy mop-up and a quick battle win on the next turn. As you guys dive into Resonance of Fate, you'll discover much more about the combat system, the enemies, and the flow of battle than we could ever cover off here. Around every corner, we hope you'll find it exciting, engaging, and a much-needed breath of fresh air to the real-time combat RPG scene. That's all for this video. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you around the Sega forums and blogs.